Well, to recap the ball game, it's been a while here, an extra day, but obviously a frustrating loss. You know, we're tired of being close. I have to admit to you, we're tired of being close, and put a good UCLA team on the road, and when you play a good team on the road, you can't spot them 14 points. And the reality of it was that's what we did. Gave them great field position on the first two drives. And they converted that into 2 touchdowns, and we played catch-up the rest of the night. I thought that we had a couple opportunities defensively to get the ball back, and weren't able to capitalize on that when the ball was on the ground to recover a couple fumbles. Obviously, the interception that gets called back on the pass interference. And then 3 pass interference penalties on third down, which those same 3 drives result in 21 points. So some self-inflicted wounds that when you're playing a good team, you can't afford to do, because they're going to earn their own yards their own way. So frustrating in that aspect. I will say that I was proud of our guys and their ability to fight back when we were down 27-7. I thought they showed a lot of grit, a lot of heart to cut that lead to 27-24. And then probably the most critical drive of the game is when we cut it to 27-24. UCLA's ability to put a drive together, convert 3 third downs to extend that lead back to 34-24, and it kind of remained a 10-point game the rest of the way. We just couldn't cut into it. So really disappointed, quite honestly, frustrated. But the reality of it is we got to go play a team that's hungry and upset because they've lost 3 heartbreakers in a row too. So we don't have time to sit around and with the woe is me mentality. We got to get ready to play in Corvallis Saturday night on senior night for those guys, a hostile environment, and it's going to take a great effort from our team to get a victory.
Steve, you said this morning the league got back to you on the hands to the face call on Dexter. How tough a pill is that to swallow?
You know, it's tough because, you know, we already get penalized a lot. You know, I mean, we get a lot of penalties, and probably the majority of those deservingly so. But when you get one that isn't, and is obviously very clear to see that it's not a penalty, and not only is it not a penalty, it takes 7 points off the board for you in a critical ball game. It's hard, you know, but the reality of it is that one play is not the reason why we lost that game. Sure, we'd love to have that touchdown, no doubt about it. But there's other plays in there too that we could have helped ourselves better.
Sark, do you think, is that, I mean, with as much reviews already goes on, do you think it's getting to the point now where all scoring plays are going to have to get reviewed in such a way where maybe the conference doesn't have to make those calls anymore?
Well, I don't pretend to be an official. I've got a big enough job to do on my own. I know in speaking with the Pac-12, I sure would like to get to a point to where we almost adopt the NFL model for review, where all scoring plays are reviewed, all plays within 2 minutes are reviewed. Anything outside of that, put the onus on the coaches to decide to challenge or not. We're obviously not there yet. That would be a play that wouldn't be able to be challenged anyway, quite honestly. So you live with the call, and you play the hand you're dealt, and you try to fight through the adversity and go make the next play.
Sark, you've seen Keith battle through a lot the last few years. I mean, the mentality that he has. How do you describe that? And I mean, have you seen that out of him already this week? And what is it going to come down to for you on Thursday?
I think a lot to it. I think first of all, you know, we've been in a lot of battles together. Keith and I have been through a lot together. And Saturday was hard, I think, on everybody to know, our entire team knew he wasn't going to come out and play in that second half. And I wanted to make sure he knew that we were there for him, one, first and foremost. 2, I thought he showed a great deal of leadership, knowing he couldn't play, to come back out on that field and to be there for Seiler and the rest of the team. I thought just epitomizes what this guy stands for. He loves this university, he loves this football program, and he was right out there, the first guy greeting guys coming off the field. So I think that's the first piece. The second piece is I'm not going to put him on the field if he's not healthy enough to play. And he's going to have to show me Thursday that he's able to make the throws that he's capable of making. We're going to allow that shoulder some time to to get some of the swelling out of there, the inflammation out of there, so that he feels good on Thursday to go out and throw. And if he's capable of doing that, then we'll play him. If he's not, we'll go with Seiler, and we'll prep all week as if Seiler's the starter, and he's definitely capable of being that. And then come Thursday, after Thursday's practice, we'll make a decision and move forward.
Can you talk about his injury as it relates to the potential for coming back on Thursday? What's he got specifically?
Well, he's got a sore shoulder. You know, he got landed on that. He's not really sure exactly which play it was. It was the last two plays of the first half. He gets hit on both of them, but the adrenaline's rolling. You're excited. You're playing the game. Hard to tell. He didn't really know, and then all of a sudden the pain set in. You know, after the incomplete pass on third down, we kicked the field goal. Then he's like, "Man, this thing is really hurting." So where and exactly that occurred, if there or the two hits in a row, whatever that was, but the swelling was immediate in there and restricted his movement, restricted his ability to lift his arm above his shoulder in a throwing motion. What our medical team has done, in my opinion, have done a great job already identifying it. The swelling is reducing rapidly. His movement is much better today than it was the last couple of days. So we'll see where he's at Thursday. You know, I don't count the guy out. He's a fighter. He's a competitor. I think he was playing a really good football game there in the first half. I mean, if the touchdown pass to String doesn't get called back, he's well over 200 yards passing. He's against a good defense. So, you know, hopefully we get him back. If not, I know he'll be the first guy there helping Seiler prepare and get ready to play Saturday.
Is there any structural concerns with the shoulder, or is it a matter of just pain tolerance?
Just pain tolerance for him.
Is it most likely a 1-week injury?
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we're just got to get ready for this ball game, and we'll see what Thursday tells us, and then we'll move from there.
Does this feel like a similar situation to 2011 in terms of the Oregon State game?
A little bit different in that the knee injuries there and the ankle injuries there going into that ball game were kind of lingering. They were adding up as the weeks went on. This is an isolated deal, so we don't have quite as much information. I knew going into that week, I mean, the amount of pain that he had been going through for weeks, and we had all watched him battle through it in those ball games, and I made that decision earlier in that week to start Nick Montana. This one's a little bit different in that this is an isolated kind of area for concern of how he responds to it. So a little bit different, but it's similar in the fact that it's Oregon State, it's late in the season, it's a ball game both teams would love to win.
Steve, what in the play calls in that third and fourth down sequence where you didn't get the first down, what went into why did you choose that Wildcat?
It was a play we had ran earlier in the ball game that was very effective for us. We used Bishop on it earlier. It got us a good amount of yardage. It was a play that we really felt like was going to work again, and the look was there for us again. We had a bit of a miscommunication on the play. Where we didn't execute it the way it was executed earlier in the ball game. Obviously, it was a new quarterback in. It was a new left tackle in with Micah being out, and there was a bit of a miscommunication. And to UCLA's credit, because of our miscommunication, they had a player in place to make the play, and he made the play and forced us into the fourth down.
And then on the fourth down, decision to go for it?
Fourth down, we were anticipating man-to-man coverage, which is what we got. We had liked our matchups on the perimeter, whether it was with Stringfellow or with Austin or with Kevin Smith, and allows the quarterback to go to the matchup he feels great about at that time. He went with Stringfellow, which I don't blame him at the time. Demarie was having a fantastic game. Maybe not his best throw. There was a little bit of contact, and the ball went incomplete. But, I think that it was a play where we gave the quarterback some options to go to the best matchup at his disposal, and their guy made the play.
What's the big challenge of facing Manning Saturday?
Well, the challenge is if he's standing back there patting the ball and staring at our secondary with time, he's going to throw it accurately. He's a really accurate passer down the field, so we have to find a way to generate some pressure on him. We know Cooks is going to get his touches. We know Hamlet's going to get his touches. We know Mulaney's going to get his touches, but we can't let Mannion stand there and pat the ball.
What's the key in kind of finding that great balance between being able to defend them down the field, but also defending their screen game and what your defensive front has to do.
Well, I think that's their system, and they do a great job. Coach Riley is a tremendous offensive coach. They force you to defend down the field, 30, 40, 50 yards down the field. And when you put all of your emphasis there, then it's the slow screen game to the back, to the tight ends, things of that nature. So you have to defend it all. And in this conference, there's good offenses, and every week there's unique challenges, and this is another one. So our ability to defend these guys is going to be critical to our success Saturday night.
What stood out about Siler since you've had in the last year and a half, and what specifically was your takeaway from Friday
He's got
night?
great athleticism. I think we'll see him as he plays more. He'll run the football even more. I think he's trying to find his way some of when is the right time to run it, when is not. We need him to run it. That's one of the assets that he possesses when he's on the field. He's a very accurate passer. I think he has more arm strength than probably people give him credit for. We saw that in the game the other night. But definitely his legs are something that need to be a factor in the game when he's playing.
How many times did you call the situation where he had the opportunity to run?
I don't have the number right in front of me, but that was probably a good 5 to 8 times in that ball game where he had an option to run it. And there was probably 2 of them where I'd say, hey, in the future, Siler, I'd like for you to run it there. And he didn't that night, but I think he will in the future. And when he does, we all know what he's capable of. We've seen it, in a couple ball games here in the past where he's pulled that ball and made some big plays.
Does he project as the kind of runner that Jake was, or is he going to be a different
No, I think he's a little bit different. Jake is a very physical guy. Jake's a very physical runner, strong. Siler, a little bit more of a glider, a little bit more elusive, I think. I don't think he'll take quite as many hits as Jake, but I don't think he'll outrun as many people as Jake did. I mean, Jake, when he got the edge, he was going to outrun you. I mean, the guy's a legitimate 4.4 speed. I don't think Siler has that speed, but I think he's a little bit more elusive.
Steve, after the game, you expressed confidence in kind of the bounce back factor with the team. Have you seen signs of that already this week?
I think so. But we're a hardened group. I think we have a great deal of resolve in our locker room and amongst our coaching staff. Nobody's happy. We're not happy we didn't go win that game. We went down to L.A. to win the game, and we didn't. And so we're upset about it. We're frustrated. But we know what we're capable of, and we know there's plenty of still for us to go out and accomplish. And it's going to take really good efforts to do so. But I think we've got the leadership in that locker room to do it. I think we've got really good coaches that can make it happen. And, it started this morning, and away we go.
Sark, do you see something to the slow starts that your team has had against top competition?
No, everything's been different. Every time it's been different, we didn't hold on to the ball Friday night, and 2 of our best players, I don't know who else I'd rather have the ball in their hands than Austin and Bishop, and they knocked it out. Good players knocked them out. So, I think every game is different. Every game takes on its own personality. We fell behind the other night for a variety of reasons. Obviously, fumbling the ball twice, getting pass interference penalties on 3rd down, but that hasn't been the constant theme, whether it was Arizona State or Stanford or Oregon. It's been a variety of things, but when you play good teams and you make mistakes, good teams capitalize on it. And so we're not in a mold yet to handle making mistakes and then knowingly always be able to overcome those mistakes. And so we need to go out and play a good, clean football game. And when we do, we're pretty good. And so that's the goal for Saturday night.
Mike was dinged up. Is he?
He's still pretty sore. He got leg whipped there in his lower leg in a goal line scenario right there. I think it was, the play before Austin caught his touchdown pass. Mike had been playing really good football for us. I mean, he's been playing really good for about the last month and a half of the season. I thought that took an effect on the game with Riva moving to left tackle. Anthony Barr all of a sudden became involved in the game. So we need to get Micah healthy. As important as Keith is, Micah is really important too to what we do. So hopefully we get him back sooner rather than later.
Next to him, there's an or between Dexter and Eric. Is there a situation?
Dexter will start. Sorry, that's a mistake on my part.
You didn't envision the beginning of the year leading the country in penalties. What message isn't getting through?
You know, I don't know. I think our guys play really aggressive football, but we have to be smarter. You know, and then trusting our technique, in my opinion, is part of it. You know, I think to one play in particular, the pass interference on Marcus Peters on the far sideline, he's in awesome position. He's in great position. If he turns around, he's going to intercept the pass. And so I think it's just the belief of knowing that we're capable, when we do things right, we're capable of being right. But when we grab face masks and when we get pass interference penalties and when we jump and when we false start, those are self-inflicted wounds that we don't need to do to ourselves. And so we'll continue to work at it. You know, I've looked at every area and every aspect of this thing. I think one thing that is a little frustrating on our end, we are the most penalized team, but if you take our opponents' penalties, they're the least penalized opponents of common opponents in the conference. And so that part's a little discouraging to me that, you know, I'm all about just officiating the game and officiating, you know, equally. If we're going to have 11 penalties and UCLA is going to have 8, it is what it is. But when you go into ball games and one team has 10, another team has 2, things of that nature, that's when it gets frustrating on our end, because I don't think our guys are maliciously out there holding or getting pass interference penalties. You just like to see it called equally for everybody, and you know, whether that happens all the time or not, I'm not sure.
For obviously impatient, as most college football fan bases are, Husky fan base, do you hear much of that and feel much of that? And if so, what would you say to them about where the program's at now?
Nobody's more frustrated than me. I can tell you that. And you can ask our players that. You know, I think we have a good football team, and I don't. You know, because we've lost 4 games this year to 4 top 20 teams, and 3 of which are on the road. That's not an excuse, because we're good enough to go beat those teams. I know we are. And whether it's a mindset, whether it's a hurdle that we have to do it once, that we can do it twice, and then the third time. But I know we're capable of doing it, and it's frustrating for me, and frustrating because I want for these kids to have that success, and I think they're deserving of it. They work their tails off for me. They do everything we ask them to do, and so you know, for people to feel however they feel, I understand it, but believe me, if they could jump inside me and in my heart and in my head, nobody feels more frustrated and worse about it than me.
Are you baffled in some respects because you guys are so good at home, but when you go on the road, a different team shows up?
I don't know if I'll use baffled as the word. I am frustrated by it. You know, we're a good football team, and for how good we played a week ago, forget who the opponent was, but just the way we played the game a week ago as opposed to the way we started the game at UCLA, it's really frustrating. And you know, got to dig deep into our sports psychology to figure out why that's occurring and what's going on, because we're capable of much more than what we've put out there, especially on the road.